This is Caffeine and Coils, and I'm Deanna.
And I'm Jenny. And today we're here with Brandon from AprilAire, and our hot topic of the day is radon. Hi, Brandon.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here with us. So, I know radon is kind of like a mystical topic, I feel, in our industry. I know I've heard of it, not a lot, just kind of like in real estate transactions and different things like that. But what is radon? Can you just tell us what it is?
Yeah, it's a great question, and you're right. It's been kind of a mystery even to our industry for a very long time, even though radon is something that has always been here. Real easy summary of it, radon is essentially elements decaying in the ground that are giving off quite literally nuclear type elements through the air, right? So when things like different types of stones and whatnot break down naturally over time underneath us, right, they break down into different elements, and those elements can be hazardous to our health if they make it into our airstream and ultimately then into our lungs. So they identified several decades ago that this was something that was actually pretty common. It was happening in most people's houses. And the beautiful thing about radon, while it's a scary element that can do a lot of harm, is that it actually can be mitigated very easily. It's something that we can take care of and make a non-factor in the home.
Okay, and so what kind of problems does radon cause if it's not mitigated in the home?
Great question. So the biggest problem radon is going to cause, and really the only one that we're concerned with, is lung cancer. It is the number one cause of lung cancer behind smoking. So if you're a non-smoker, it's the number one reason non-smokers get lung cancer. If you are a smoker, it significantly compounds the chances that you are going to get lung cancer.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, it is scary.
So tell me, how do you determine if you have radon in your house?
A good question. So the way that you're going to determine if you have radon, and really the only way, is to test. See, radon doesn't have an odor. It doesn't have a color. It's not something that you can smell. Like when you think about if I've got a natural gas leak or something in my home, that's an odor that we smell, right? Radon, you don't know unless you test. The only way that we're going to find out what the levels of radon are in your home, and if they are at a level that are going to be dangerous to you, is to actually do a test in your home. It's a super easy test. It's a charcoal kit that gets hung up in the house for a few days, and within 5 days after turning it in, you know what your radon levels are.
Okay, so you just open the test and hang it up, and then basically set yourself a reminder that it needs to be taken back down, and then from there, where does it go? So
once you take your test down, they get sent to a laboratory, and these laboratories are there to determine how much radon exposure that test actually had. Radon is an element that's puncturing a whole lot of holes into this little charcoal test, right? And based upon the amount of time of the exposure, right? So you're right, you got to set yourself an alarm so that they know exactly when you started and when you finished. They can count that amount of holes inside of the test and determine, okay, this is the amount of picocuries, which is how radon is measured, that your home is being exposed to, and this is the level that we want to get you to.
Okay, that's a new term, picocurie.
Yeah.
How is that? What is that? What kind of measurement is that? I gotta know.
Oh, man,
is it just specific to radon?
It's not. Well, it's specific to radioactive decay.
Okay.
Right. So Madame Curie came up with picocurie. It's named after her, and that's exactly what it is. And again, I try not to scare people a whole lot talking about this topic, but it can be scary.
It's too late.
It's actual, yeah, right.
Right.
It's true radioactive decay happening under your home.
Okay.
Right? And those radioactive elements are making their way into our bodies unless we're mitigating them.
Okay. Yeah, that is a little scary, I think, too. What does it mean, I guess, from an investment standpoint? We know what an investment real estate is usually. That's our biggest purchase of our life. So, I mean, what are the steps what's the liability if your home does have radon?
So liabilities are going to differ depending upon where you are located. They can vary state by state, county by county. Now, where I live, you cannot sell your home without doing a radon test, and if the test comes back at a level that is above what the recommended level for picocuries is, which is 4 picocuries, they will make you actually put in a radon mitigation system before you can sell that home.
Okay. Wow, that's a huge thing. So I imagine, I don't know that that's a thing where I live in Georgia. I mean, I don't know if it's a requirement, but I imagine that it's probably coming.
Yeah, we know federally it's going to be a thing someday. It's not today, but it will be someday. But as more awareness has made its way out there, more people are now asking for this as part of a real estate transaction, regardless of whether or not there's a code demanding it. And if, generally speaking, somebody asks for a radon test to be done in a home as part of the buying process, the seller does have to do a test.
Okay. So if I were to buy your house, then I'd say, have you tested for radon? What did the test come back at? And then if you didn't, gotcha. It's kind of like almost like an extra layer to like an inspection and appraisal, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
You got questions?
Does the test for any other kind of air pollutants?
This individual test is exclusive to radon.
Okay.
Yep. There are other tests that can do additional things, but radon has to be done in its own separate way.
Is radon the worst thing, or are there more that I need to be afraid of?
Is radon the worst thing? I can tell you, I've been in the healthy air business for a very long time, and to me, radon was the one that gave me the quickest cause for concern. Little perspective, I'll give you a little hindsight on my home, just as an example, right? I, like so many people, didn't know radon before it was introduced to me when we at AprilAire started a partnership and figured out that we were going to partner up with the American Lung Association, who asked us to be a champion in this and help homeowners alleviate radon using the HVAC industry, which is the perfect industry to do it. So they gave us all the statistics. They gave us all the numbers. You want to be at or below 2 picocuries ideally. In the United States, we've got a recommendation of lower than 4. Anything above 4, you definitely want to mitigate, which makes sense when you consider that if you're in a home that has over 4 picocuries of radon, the equivalency to you in radiation exposure is the same as getting 200 chest x-rays a year. So think about it. Every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on your way to work, you're like, you know what, I'm going to stop and I'm going to get a chest x-ray. So I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of motivated to test for radon. So I test my home. I came back at 7.8. So I was almost double 200 chest x-rays per year. You know how fast I got a radon system in my home the second I found that out? So with other healthy air associated products, they're all incredibly important because we don't want things like mold or mildew, or we certainly want to get all the smoke and bacteria and viruses and everything out of our house, right? But man, the radon, that's the one that you don't feel it until it's too late. Yeah. So with other ones, we want to do them as fast as we can, mitigate those out. Radon mitigation is something we don't mess around with.
So can you explain to me, like, okay, so with your radon test, you clearly came back positive and needed that mitigated. What does this system look like? What does the equipment look like? What does it do? Can you give me more information on that? Because for me, I'm very like aesthetic when it comes to my home, so I don't want this like big. I just remember walking through a house and there was a pipe in the hole, like in the ground in the basement, and I'm like, what is that? Like, why would you want that there?
Yeah.
So explain to me like what it looks like and how do you make it pretty?
Well, making it pretty, it's going to depend upon where they need to actually locate it. So you're right, the pipe that was in the ground might have been a radon pipe. That is how they do it. Essentially what happens is they scoop a little dirt underneath your foundation, just enough that they can create negative pressure under your slab of your home, whether that's a basement, slab, home, crawl space, whatever, right? And then they put this pipe, 4-inch pipe, down in there with a fan, and it sucks that air up through that pipe, and it jettisons it safely over the top of the home where it's of no harm to you whatsoever. Now, depending on where they need to do that installation, you have a lot of options. You can tuck it back in a corner where maybe you'll never see it, or you can build it into some sort of an equipment closet near your HVAC equipment, kind of keep it all hidden in one area. Yeah. Most homes, it's easily hidden like that. It does, though, have to go outside. So depending upon whether you're doing a new construction home or if you're doing a home that you've lived in for 5, 10, 15 years, there are going to be some differences. In a new construction home, you can pretty much hide it in the walls. You'll never see it. It's just this little unassuming pipe over the top of the roof. Looks like any bathroom vent or anything else, right?
So that's an interesting conversation with new construction. How, I guess you can't really test if the home's not built yet. So are they automatically starting to put those in new homes, or what does that kind of look like? Do people just opt to do it just to be safe, or? Yeah,
in new construction, the trend is most companies are finding that, again, homeowner awareness is growing. So they're finding that they're just putting them in ahead of time. Again, I know where I live, it's not a requirement, but every home builder is doing it.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's something where we have this conversation 10 years from now, we're probably where every single new home is going to have a radon system in it, which is great, but that also means that there are tens of millions of homes that never had one, and that's where our opportunity is.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
That sounds like the new lead paint.
It kind of, yeah,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
The new lead paint, I like that, yeah.
What about, so I've got on my notes, the AprilAire Clean Coil Guarantee. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so the AprilAire Clean Coil Guarantee is actually really important to HVAC contractors. Now, it's written as something for the homeowner, which it totally is. It's something where we guarantee, if you're using AprilAire air filters, that we are going to keep your coil clean on your system for a decade, an entire 10 years, and no questions asked there. For whatever reason your HVAC contractor comes through and finds that that coil has to be clean, well, we're going to pay money towards getting that coil cleaned. But why it's more for the contractor even than the homeowner is because the number one expense to contractors where they're losing money is on callbacks due to warranty claims and issues. And we're in this new hyper healthy air aware world, past the whole 2020 thing, right? So what contractors are doing now is they're showing homeowners their actual systems before they replace them, right? Here's what the ductwork looks like. Here's what the coils and the blowers look like. And if you've never seen it, it's gnarly. It's one of those Google pictures you don't want to do. But what our system does is guarantees that that's just not going to happen in your home because our filters are in place. And for an entire decade, as long as the contractor is getting those filters changed out, we're going to guarantee that that whole system stays spotless. And that's a pretty cool guarantee. Hey, what may have been the cause of their last system to fail is not what's going to happen to their new expensive investment that they just made. And it also gives that contractor peace of mind that, yeah, I'm not going to get a warranty call that I'm paying for, gassing up the truck, paying labor for somebody to go out to get a coil and a duct cleaning done at my cost. I mean, that's not cheap, right? So we want to alleviate that cost from the contractor.
Nice. I like that. It's a big opportunity for our
Yeah.
customers. Yeah.
Big time.
For sure. I know that we have partnered up with you guys on the Healthy Air program. Can you
Yeah.
give us like a little bit of an overview about how that benefits our customers and what the appeal is for them?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So at Mingledorff's, we've partnered up with you guys, and by the way, I can't thank you enough for this. You're going way above and beyond for your customers. And that the nice thing about the Healthy Air program is that you are giving your customers the opportunity to incorporate healthy air into their business in a way that they've really never had before, both from a learning perspective where we have agreed to do trainings with your customers in order to help them incorporate healthy air in their business, whether that's a new venture for them or it's something that they're looking to increase within their book of business, maybe add to their average ticket cost, whatever the case may be. We're going to help them out there, and you are supplying them with phenomenal product, unbelievable pricing. I don't want to hammer on that too much, but wow. Yeah, you guys are just giving them fantastic pricing. You're really covering the whole gambit. Training, pricing, availability of products, specific things that we're doing with Mingledorff's in terms of promoting things like imprinting programs for your contractors, which we can talk about a little more if you want to. But all of that's being done exclusively through you guys, and really in a way to help your contractors do maybe the most important thing, especially in a year like 2023, differentiation.
Yeah.
Because in this industry, I've been doing this for 15 years, right? And I've met a lot of contractors, but in this industry, if you aren't unique and different, you had better be cheap.
Yeah,
So
that's a fact.
I don't know a whole lot of contractors that chose cheap that are still in business. So
Yeah.
we want to help those contractors get unique and different, and your program is definitely the biggest stepping stone for them to achieve that goal.
Yeah, so tell us more about what they can do to imprint and all that stuff so that it comes back to them. The business still comes back to them.
I was hoping that you would ask, and I can let that in, right? So the imprinting program. What we do at AprilAire is we want to make sure, because we tie our business directly to HVAC industry, right? You don't buy our stuff in the big box stores or on the retail shelves, right? So what that means is that the only way that we're going to grow as an organization is if Mingledorff's and your contractor grow, right?
Right.
So what we wanted to do was provide at a no cost to the contractor an ability for them to capture future business and maximize current business. And one of the key ways to do that is through this imprinting program. Specifically, I want to talk about imprinting air cleaner doors here. What we will do is we will put your logo on an air cleaner door color, the whole 9 yards looks exact. There's no restrictions here, right? They look exactly the way you want them to look. And we're going to advertise your business in every single home that you put an air cleaner in, which is really important. If you were to venture a guess, and throw a curveball at you here, how long do you think the average homeowner owns their home now?
I think I heard this statistic. My guess is 7 years.
Nailed it, right?
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
7 years. Well, the equipment you guys sell lasts a lot longer than that, right? So when I first started in this business, we had to coach contractors on how to capture the homeowner for life, so that when that equipment ultimately had to be replaced down the road, the homeowner called that company back. Well, now that homeowner might be in a completely different house, and it could be 2 different homeowners that had that same piece of equipment the contractor installed in that home. They have no idea who put that piece of equipment in. If we don't make them aware of it, homeowners are inquisitive. They see those doors inside of their HVAC equipment, and now it clicks with them. And the contractors that are really smart, the ones that are living in year 3000, they're putting QR codes on those doors. Takes them right back to YouTube pages with videos. Some of them have online stores tied to their own web pages, where a homeowner can literally order replacement media for that air cleaner cabinet just through a QR code over the phone. They're like little constant reminders to that homeowner. Hey, this is the company that takes care of the health of the air in your home, the comfort of the air in your home. And if there's anything you need, you give us a call.
I love that idea. I love
me too.
QR codes.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
The only time I don't want to see a QR code is at the restaurant. Like I need my paper menu,
Yeah,
but
give me the
everywhere
menu.
else, it's
Yep.
great. All right, so I know we have some trivia questions for you to ask
Okay.
for us.
All right.
Hopefully we can pass. So there's 10 of them, 5 each, and then yeah.
Oh, these are great. All right.
I'm scared.
Here we
I
go.
know me too.
Good luck. All right, question number 1. How much was the IAQ market worth back in 2012?
Well, it's probably less than half of what it is now, because we know 2020 and all of that changed the game. What's your
Right.
guess?
I'm gonna say five million.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go even less and say 2.5 million.
Okay, so the good news is it was bigger than that, all right? Back in 2012, would you believe it, Americans were spending over $3.5 billion on the health of the air inside of their home. Billion with a B, yeah.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that's way more.
So
than I
it
thought
was a
gonna be.
big market all the way back in 2012. But you said something interesting there, and it leads us into question number 2, so I'm just going to ask it. How much do you think that changed with COVID?
Oh, I bet it tripled with COVID. I mean, I remember I was working for a different distributor during COVID, and I just remember we were one of the only ones in our area to have IAQ products in stock, and that was like we were like, post it on Facebook. Somebody go tell everybody, go tell all your customers, come buy it from us because we have it. So yeah, I bet it tripled.
What do you think? Triple? Higher or lower?
I'm gonna say double.
You're going to say double?
Okay.
So I just actually got updated numbers, which is great. The number for 2023, 14.7 billion.
Oh my gosh.
Right, 14.7. So we have added $10 billion to the healthy air market as consumers in this country. That's how much more money people are investing into the health of the air in their homes. So if our contractors aren't jumping on that train, we've got to, because if they're not coming to our industry for healthy air, we're going to lose them to somebody else, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Awesome. All right, question number 3. What one thing could you not buy in a gas station back in 1975? What do you think?
A bottle of water.
That's it.
Are
didn't
you
get to
serious?
guess.
Yeah.
It was a bottle of water. That's right. So,
I need to know the history behind that.
hey, God, you're going to age me here a little
there were
bit,
lots of
right?
things.
Give you the history.
Bottled water probably wasn't even really a big thing back then, was it? I don't
People
know.
didn't think of it, right?
Yeah.
People drank from the hose,
And not
from the
filtered.
faucet. It wasn't a big deal.
Could you imagine?
So gross.
Yep.
My
How
mom
gross
used to
the
make us
hose
drink
is.
out of the water hose outside when we were
Yep, I did
playing.
too. Yep.
I know we did it and we didn't think about it twice,
Yeah.
but now I'm like, imagine, like, now we're like worried about the BPA and everything in the water bottles. And,
Yeah,
like,
that's
like,
it.
what is
Now
in the
our immune
water
systems are
hose?
so good, Jenny, because of our history with that.
We
but-
cranked them up through the water we were drinking. What happened was, I'll give you just a brief history. we weren't testing water quality in the 70s. That only happened after the EPA got in place, which was something that President Nixon did when he was in office. And once the EPA was in place, they started doing some testing of the water quality. And as they started testing major city by major city across the United States, they started finding out, well, you shouldn't drink that. I remember where I lived in the Northeast at the time, they literally put a note on our door that was from the city council saying, hey, stop drinking the water from your faucet for further notice.
Oh, wow.
Go down to here, they gave us all the list of the different places we could pick up water. Well, there wasn't a thing of bottled water because nobody had a need for bottled water, but by the 80s, it was a $200 billion industry, or $200 million industry, excuse me, which now is virtually between water filtration products, bottled water, and all the things going into purifying water. It's nearly $1 trillion industry.
Oh, wow.
That's a huge number. And I'm going to tie this back to our previous two questions, right? That was the same thing that happened to that industry with those water reports. That's what COVID did to the healthy air industry, right?
Yeah.
That's why you're seeing that sharp incline, and that's got no end in sight. That's just going to continue to rise until, just like having water filtration in your home is something we don't even think of anymore because it's just there, right?
Yeah.
Water treatment's just in every city. We're going to have that for healthy air someday too.
That's good to know. Good to know that we're like, I feel like we're constantly doing better and constantly learning better. So I feel like we're just going to be healthier people as we get more and more knowledge into this.
Yep. We grow. Hopefully we learn.
Yeah.
So.
We keep finding new things that kill us. So
New things.
Hopefully they're the ones we can mitigate.
Right. Yeah.
So, and on that note, that's what the healthy air system does. So your next question is, what's in a healthy air system?
What's in it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna guess a filter is part of the equation.
Sure is. Yeah.
And a
filter.
fan.
Fan is definitely in
Probably
there.
charcoal. Sounds like it has some.
Well, there are charcoal filters, so
Okay.
I'll give you some points there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else?
So specifically, healthy air system is whatever we can do inside of the home to make the health of the air in your home as pristine as you can. Things like fresh air ventilation, right? Air filtration, what you said. Humidity control is a big part of a healthy air system. And what we started with, that radon testing and mitigation.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we can essentially, those 5 core elements, if we can capture and mitigate all those problems inside of a home, you're going to be inside of a space where you sleep, where you live, where you might raise kids, whatever, that you're comfortable being in.
Yeah.
Just a question, kind of left field. Is there any I know we spend a lot of time at home and we need to mitigate the radon there. But what about commercial spaces like offices and where we spend a lot of time at work? So is there an initiative happening or maybe down the road that's going to happen?
Yeah, so great question. Corporate-wise, so commercial radon mitigation regulations are way ahead of consumers.
Gotcha.
I couldn't give me a good reason why, but that is the case. So a lot of places, you're going to find that there are significant rules and regulations around having a requirement of radon mitigation in commercial spaces. So yeah, and by the way, it's no different, the equipment that goes in a commercial space than what goes in a residential space. It's literally the exact same stuff. It just might be 2 or 3 additional pieces of systems because you might have a larger footprint, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the exact same mitigation system no matter whether it's at your home or in your office.
Okay, interesting.
Yep. So you tied into a good one there, and it happens to be the next question on our list. How much time do you think we do as people spend indoors these days?
The summer, 99.9%.
Especially in the region we're in,
Right,
right?
exactly.
I walked outside the other day, I was like, are we in an oven? Because that is what it feels like.
Yeah. So where I'm at, and I've said that twice now, we're headquartered in Wisconsin, right? So we get alerts now every single day because Canada's wildfires are going out of control, right?
Yeah.
Right? It's wildfire season. By the way, that's not a term we made up. That's an actual thing now. It's called wildfire season. That's the world that we live in, right? So things like those smoke particles and everything, that's just a commonplace day for the world that we live in right now. So because of heat, humidity, whatever the case may be, we are spending over 90% of our time now inside, right?
Yeah.
There's an actual term for it, for
low.
bonus points. Anybody know what the term is?
homebody?
Homebody? Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
Cocooning is what they're calling
Cocooning.
that. Yeah, there was an article, America is becoming the nation of cocooners, and it just meant that we were spending all of our time inside. So more important than ever then to make sure that we got that healthy air going, right?
Right,
Because if that's where we're
absolutely.
spending all of our time, we don't want to be that environment to be the place that's making us sick.
Gotcha. Absolutely.
All right, you ready for another one? You guys are rolling. We're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. How much air bypasses the average filter?
80%.
80%? Where's your head at?
65%.
All right, so make sure maybe I
Kind of in the
said
middle.
goes around the filter. Doesn't actually push through the
Oh,
filter, but goes
doesn't-
around.
I was
thinking
it.
goes
Yeah.
through.
Okay. Yeah, I think I got that wrong too. So I would say around the filter.
Yep.
Ooh. 30%?
Okay, 30. You higher or lower?
I'm going to say 20.
Okay, you're very close. It's somewhere, depending upon the filter, on average, between 7 and 19%.
Okay.
So
Okay.
for perspective, on a 5-ton system, how much air do you think that is going around that filter? Any idea?
No, I don't even
No
Yeah,
worries.
no idea.
So that's almost 800 CFM of air, right? So that would be enough that if that was blowing on us in this room right now, well, not mine, but your hair would be flying back. My beard would part down the middle or something, who knows? But it's a considerable amount of air, right?
How many G-forces is that?
More
I'm
than
just
I want to
kidding.
take to, I like my G-forces at 0. So why that's a big deal is because all that bad stuff in the air takes the path of least resistance, right? So if you've got 20% of the air in that system making its way around the filter, that filter isn't really filtering your air in any meaningful way. It's going to capture a lot, which is better than none, but in terms of keeping your system clean, keeping your ductwork clean, keeping your lungs clean, every home's got an air filter. If it's not on your system, it's in your lungs. It's not doing the job, right? So I'll go back to our previous clean coil guarantee. The reason we can offer a 10-year clean coil guarantee is because we don't allow that bypass air. Our systems do seal up. They seal to the doors, to the cabinets, all the way around. So we make sure that all the air that's going through your system, as much as reasonably can be done, there's always a little bit of leakage, but it's actually being cleaned, which is really important. And it's a big differentiator in a healthy air system, being able to clean all of that air.
That's good to know.
All right. So what is the AprilAire Clean Coil Guarantee was one of the questions. Now you get to really cheat on this one because I just gave you a whole rundown twice. We got to get this one right. What's the Clean Coil Guarantee?
Okay, the clean coil guarantee is a guarantee that you guys make to the contractors that for 10 years they're not going to have warranty claims. Help me out. I'm phoning a friend.
The coil's going to stay clean.
Yes, the coil's going to stay clean for 10 years. There you go.
There it is. And that's really
I
that's
panicked.
really what it is, right? We guarantee that as long as the contractor's cleaning that or changing that filter out, right, that it's going to stay clean for the next decade. That's guaranteed to the contractor. It does go to the homeowner as well. We pass that guarantee along to them.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Nice.
So little card in every box that says, hey, now you got an AprilAire on your system, we're keeping it clean. So great,
Awesome.
great.
That's great.
All right, one more. You got one more in you?
One more.
All right.
I'm scared.
What one thing does a Honeywell MERV 11 and an AprilAire MERV 16 filter have in common? So real quick, the MERV rating there, kind of a wibbly wobbly term. MERV rating means the higher the number, the more fine particulate you're getting out of the air, right? So a 16 is going to remove a lot more particulate from the air than an 11 does. But usually when you remove that much more particulate, you're restricting airflow, meaning that there's more total static on a system. So I'm giving you all the cheat codes I can here. What is the one thing that Honeywell MERV 11 and the AprilAire MERV 16 have in common?
It's going to be the same static.
That's it. It's going to be the exact same static, right? And that's an important thing, is we are dealing with this new hyper healthy air aware homeowner. They're asking for filters that can capture a lot more, and to no surprise, asthma triggers and viruses, those are the two main things on their mind, right? So an AprilAire MERV 16 filter will capture up to 99% of all asthma triggers and up to 96% of viruses moving through your air. But we're doing it at a static pressure level that is at or lower then most filters at a MERV 11 are smaller, which is a really important factor because that means a contractor can know for certain that when they put an AprilAire filter on a cabinet or into a piece of equipment, they're not going to have to worry about the static pressure across that system. We're going to keep that system healthy, clean, homeowners healthy, and not restrict airflow to the point where they could have problems.
That's awesome.
I think
Yeah,
you guys
I-
did pretty well. They didn't softball questions there for you. Those are some
Yeah.
And truthfully, we did not look through the answers very well. So, well, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thanks again.
Yeah, we've
Thank
had
you.
fun. We've learned a lot. So,
Yeah, now I'm gonna go get an AprilAire system to fit in my house.
I
so
know, and
that-
I'm going to get a radon test. Ignorance
definitely.
is no
Yeah, I
longer
want to
bliss.
test. I want to test and see how bad we're at.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe we could do that and then reveal our results.
We should do that. Yeah, we should
Yeah.
do an episode on that for sure.
The big reveal. I like it.
Y'all let us know if you want to hear about that in the comments.
Right. All right. Well, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe.
Thanks, y'all.